how to set up Windows Forms from Microsoft Visual Studio with MySQL from XAMPP using VB.NET. Now, C# can also be used here, but we're going to use VB.NET for this one. So we have a number of steps we have to follow, starting with make a database in MySQL. Now, first thing we need to do is open XAMPP. So I will. Once the XAMPP is open the MySQL and Apache. So we can edit the database in MySQL using Apache. Then we have to open MySQL so we can edit the database and use it. And then you have to type in php localhost / php. Now, let's create a database. I'm gonna create a database example. Create. Then I will create a table with 2 columns. We call it a user. Create. Then let me just fill up this database, this table. I've added an extra column for ID, but this is not important. So we have username and password we are going to save. So now I have created a database and inside it a table. Make a project in Microsoft Visual Studio. So I am opening my Microsoft Visual Studio. We create a new project. In Windows Forms app, Visual Basic. And I will type in MySQL example. I will use the default framework then. Alright, I have created the project. Now, the next thing we need to do is install my SQL package using package NuGet Manager. So in order to do that, we have to go to Tools, the NuGet Package Manager, that manage NuGet packages for solution. We have to search MySQL in Browse. Click this and install it. Then just click Apply. I accept. You should have it installed. It should now work here. Next thing we have to do is create a connection code. We'll see if we can connect to the MySQL for now. So let me create a design first. I'll be back with you. I have now created a design. I will double click this button, connect. Then I will create a button that will test the connection of MySQL. I have now typed in the code for MySQL for connection. So we have imports. to import the MySQL client package that I told you to install. And then these four, we have these variables that we need to fill up. So first, we have localhost, obviously. And then we need a database. So we should get a database here. We have a database underscore example. Then we will type that here. Then we have username as root. So this is the default. You should type it as is. Then we have the constring that fills up everything we need so we can connect to the SQL connection using the string, connection string. So in here, it will try to open a connection and it will say successful, otherwise it will tell you what kind of error we are having. So we shall test it. So I will try to connect. Connection successful. Alright. Now, I shall turn off this XAMPP and we'll see what happens if we try to connect to it. Unable to connect to any of the specified MySQL hosts. So let me turn that back on. So that is how to connect MySQL. Now, how do we use MySQL? We have MySQL command example. So I will now create another form. So I will create another code and I will get back to you. So this is my design and this is my code. So again, we have these attributes that will allow us to connect to the MySQL. Then we also have this username and password input. So we have two buttons that will register and log in. And we will do that now. But first, I will explain each of these. We have a we'll check if any given username already exists. We have this query that selects if this will check if there is a single user with a specific given username. And then we have this register which will insert that username and password as a new record. Then we have select again to check if the username and username has the same password, and we'll check if that username exists. And if it is correct, it will say login successful, otherwise login invalid. We shall try it now. Alright, first we're gonna check if I have let's try this sample. Then we shall try to do register. It doesn't exist. Now we shall try to log. Oops. Hold on. Alright. I have now fixed my code and we shall try to do that again. Test 1, 2, 3. Then we register this. User registered successfully. Then we'll try this. We just type in. Then we have login successful. Then valid, and we can see that it works. So that is how to create That is how to create a MySQL connection. And thank you for watching. I'm so bad at editing this.